talk. Let's talk show.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Show. And today's first special guest is someone who lived through the War of 1812. Please welcome Laura Secord. Hello, Laura Secord.
Hello, Liz. I am so honored to be featured in your show.
You're welcome, Laura. But what is the War of 1812?
Well, as I remember, the War of 1812 was a military conflict that lasted for 2.5 years between the United States of America and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland.
Tell me how it all started, the War of 1812, and what you had to do to live through it.
It was tragic. I remember it all so clearly. It was the evening of June 21st, 1813. Some American officers forced their way into my home and ordered me to serve them dinner. They talked about their plans for how to crush the remaining British resistance in the area. As I quietly washed the dishes, I listened to the voices of the American officers through the thin partition.
Please continue.
I had to walk 30 kilometers from Kingston to Beaver Dams, near Toral, to warn James Fitzgibbon that the Americans were planning to attack his outpost.
So you're basically like a spy?
Yes, I remember that one time I had to get dressed to milk the cows. I had to be really careful not to get captured because the traditional punishment for spies was death.
So did you stay in your house the whole time?
No, because sometimes I always go outside for food or to warn James Fitzgibbon that the Americans would do something bad. But every time I go outside to watch out for anyone that might capture me and kill me.
Wow, you lived a really tough life. So you basically had your freedom, right?
Yes, pretty much. But I am now known as a typified pioneer woman in my courage, endurance, and resolution in the face of adversity.
The story of Laura Secord has become legendary, and Laura Secord herself is known in the Canadian history. Thank you, Laura Secord, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Please welcome Harriet Tubman, a person who played a big role in the War of 1812. And for those who don't know who she is or was an African North American born to slavery and one of the most wanted people in America for her extraordinary railroad work.
Hello, Liz. Thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome. We're very honored to have you on her Liz Talk. Is it alright if I ask a couple of questions?
Of course.
How did you avoid being caught from freeing the slaves?
Well, to avoid getting caught, I usually dress up in disguises, such as a young woman, a soldier, and many more.
So how many slaves have you freed?
Well, in my whole lifetime, I maybe made 19 trips from America to Britain and freed about 300 slaves to freedom.
You must be very proud of yourself, but have you ever gotten lost from your trail to Britain or ever lost someone on your way?
No, actually, as I like to say, I have never run my train off track or never lost a passenger.
Wow, that's truly inspiring. Thank you for your time on Liz Talk.
Thank you for inviting me to the show.
She came to what is now New Brunswick with her family in 1783. She was just 11 years old. Rebel forces had taken her family from after her father joined a loyalist regiment. Please welcome Hannah Ingraham. Welcome to Liz Talk, Let's Talk Show. So tell me how hard it was to live under the rules of rebel forces.
It was a sad, sick time after we landed in St. John. We had to live in tents. The government gave them to us, and food too. It was the first snow then, and the melting snow and rain would soak up into our beds as we lay.
Where did you live before you traveled?
My father lived in Newport, Concord, 20 miles away from Alabama. We had a comfortable farm and plenty of cows and sheep.
What happened when the war began?
When the war began, my father joined the regulars, and my mother was forced to pay rent for our home farm. What father had sown, they took away. But what mother raised after she paid rent, they let her keep. They took away grandfather prisoner and sent him on board prison ship. Mother had 4 years without hearing her from father. And the neighbor got a letter from her husband and then decided for mother to tell her father was coming home.
That sounds so tragic, but everything turned out okay. Your father came home and now there is peace. Thank you for your time, Hannah Ingraham.
Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Please welcome Annie Smith from the Great Migration.
Thank you for having me, Liz.
Before I do anything, what is the Great Migration?
Well, the Great Migration is when the Europeans wanted people from Scotland and Ireland to come to Canada and farm the land.
What did you do during that time?
Some people asked me if I wanted to go to Canada. I thought about it and I agreed because some of my family was there. It was quite a long trip from Scotland to Quebec, but at least I made it here.
So tell me, what was your first impression of Quebec?
When the ship was getting closer, I saw a beautiful sight. The towers were glistening in the sun, and the roofs of the houses were covered with tin. The view was amazing.
How did you feel when the ship docked?
It felt quite different at first, but I was amazed when I saw the new environment.
What are some sights that you saw?
The castle was frowning over the town. We went ashore to see the town, and we rambled through the streets. It was easy to see that we were in a foreign land that day. The houses were very high compared to Scotland, and the streets were narrow.
That's exactly what I pictured Quebec to be.
Yes, and I wandered around at the immense gigs and carts. Quebec is a really nice place, but I will still miss my own country, Scotland.
It's nice to hear, Annie. Welcome to Canada.
Thank you, Liz, for the interview.
Thank you. That will be all for me. See you next time. Bye.
Let's talk, show.